To the outside world, Emeka Ike is considered a Nollywood legend that is even often credited as being one of the founding fathers of Nollywood, and being one of those people where we would constantly see their faces in the Nollywood classic movies, etc. etc. That is what he is publicly known for. Well, until recently. When he did an interview that went viral where he was claiming that his wife had stolen his properties, had caused him so many misfortunes, and etc. etc. You can find the interview on Channel News TV, but that's not even the crazy part. Immediately after that interview went viral, him and the said wife that he was talking about had been divorced 10 years prior, but he had been doing interviews talking about the divorce and the marriage and accusing her of many things. And for the first time ever, the ex-wife broke her silence in an interview, an exclusive interview, which you can also find on YouTube on with Today's YouTube channel.
And he kept hitting me. He kept hitting me, and I was shouting, Emeka, if you hit me one more time, I would die. I can't feel anything. I've attempted suicide 3 times.
Because of your husband?
Yes.
I'll try and put all these links in the description box below. Wow, I've forgotten these YouTube terms already. But yeah, so she did an interview exposing Emeka Ike as an abuser, and the details of that interview have been very concerning and have actually been trending even more than it's just opened a Pandora box. So Emeka's interview started some sort of discourse. I'm sure he didn't expect that, but then when the wife now broke her silence, the whole internet just went crazy, especially on Twitter and even here on YouTube. As you might have seen, some people making videos on it, etc. etc. So yeah, in this video I'm going to be taking you guys deeper into the whole spectrum and giving my thoughts on some of the things that I find very disturbing and very concerning, and hoping that we could have genuine conversations about the bigger problem that is abuse in Africa. So before we even get into the video, I just want to make it clear, the N-word, neutral, is a very triggering word for me, because I personally, I've said this many and many times before, but I don't believe there's such a thing as being neutral, especially in situations where there's an oppressed and an oppressor, as happens in the cases of abuse. So I believe in picking sides, because even when you're neutral, you've picked a side, and you guys will see where that comes in later on. But I just wanted to give out a disclaimer before we actually got into the meat of the video. And one of the things I wanted to talk about was how people are reacting to because the internet, as I said, has been divided, and there have been people who've been like, social media, why are these people bringing it to social media? This is a family issue. First of all, Emeka is the one who started this whole bringing to social media, because he did an interview on not even on social media, or not even just on social media, because he did it on an actual media channel, Channel TV News. So it was also on traditional media plus social media, so obviously it would get the attention that it got. So imagine blaming the wife and the son for coming out and speaking out against it. It just doesn't make sense, because he was the one that brought it to social media first. And also the fact that he's been doing these interviews for like a really long time. And when I was doing my research for this video, I found out this man, it's not like, he's been problematic for quite a minute, because if you go to YouTube and just search some of the interviews, some of the things people are talking about him, like, he's been in various scandals throughout the course of his career, since like it's just that this is trending. During her interview with Chude on the YouTube channel, she said something that really stood out to me, and that was that, you know, when she was asked why after all this time, why after 10 years have you decided to finally break your silence? Because if you've been silent for 10 years, then why now? Why are you speaking now after 10 years? Like, you know, that. And I think that was actually a genuine question. And she said that the reason that she's chosen to speak out is because Emeka has been doing this since the divorce left. And she said, I think I wrote it down. Yeah, I feel like I ran out of an abusive relationship, but I'm still being abused. And that really, that's so powerful, because the fact that she was able to get out but still is being hounded down even outside of the marriage, it's so crazy to me. That's like, it's like you ran out but you're still being like, this person didn't let you go, they're still chasing after you, and it's so crazy. So I actually, that's so painful, man. That's crazy. So I actually understand why she'd bring it to social media. And even for the people saying, oh, why is she bringing it to social media, what did you expect them to bring it to? Like, why are you, what's your problem? You know, because there's someone like on Twitter, someone was like, you know, I'd rather type this in my estate WhatsApp group, whatever, like these things, than take it to social media through an interview. And I'm just like, and actually there are people who even replied to that tweet and were like, no, that doesn't make any sense. You think this is a small thing? This is not one of those things you say, oh, let me take it to let me just share it, it's not a big issue, let's not publicize it. This is not, oh, who took my pink slippers. This is who, this person abused me. This person that is in the public space is an abuser. He continues to abuse his son, as we'll see later on. He continues to abuse his family. So it doesn't make any sense to try and silence these people unless you're also an enabler or an abuser. And that's one of the things that has clearly come out from this case, is the way a lot of people are commenting about this particular case. You can see that there's a need to justify this kind of abuse, and it's just crazy to me. It doesn't make any sense. Like, I'm just like, what? You really think this is okay? You okay? And one of the interesting things that also has been happening, especially in the Twitter space, which is why I think it's commendable that Suzanne Emma actually chose to break her silence alongside her son, and also that, you know, they had taken like the legal route to this, because there's so many people that are now like, yeah, there are so many people that I would consider credible witnesses that are now coming out and saying, a lawyer called Ndi Kato, and her account is actually like, she's widely followed, so she's like, it's a legit public figure. And she was like, yeah, I actually remember this case, and like the court case between Emeka and Emma. And she was basically saying that I'm so glad Emeka Ike's wife and ex-wife and son are speaking out. I remember this case vividly. Meanwhile, read the comments from the same people who were rushing to support him when he came to misrepresent a case that we so clearly witnessed. So basically, she's saying that what Emeka Ike is saying is not true. And you see, this is why I commend Suzanne for taking the legal route and just being public about it, because there are so many people from even 10 years back that know the truth, and they're coming out to say, yeah, this is what happened, yeah, we saw it. Yeah, you can't just be like, we don't believe her, or because it would have been a very tricky place for her to just come out and be like, you know, this man abused me, but you didn't go to court, you didn't do anything, nobody knows whether you're telling the truth or not. But the fact that she actually took this to court, had attached even pictures to the divorce petition of her being abused, like things like that, it just goes to show you how important it is for women to be like vocal about their abuse and to take the right measures. Because when you need vindication, and when you need to prove yourself, and when you need to fight for yourself, those, it will help, it will come to help, it will come to show that, you know, indeed it's true. Because sometimes people can't just take your word for it, and that's the unfortunate reality of it, because we've had, unfortunately, other women who've lied about things like this. So it's commendable that she actually took the route to speak up. So the financial abuse, I found this particularly interesting because she wasn't even allowed to work, and there was even a time she was offered an opportunity to be an actress and to model for Miss Nigeria, and you know how big those opportunities are. So for someone to come and tell you, you know, you're married now, you can't be doing these things, you shouldn't work, what, let me tell you, one of my biggest fears is someone crippling you financially because you become dependent on them. You can't eat without money, you can't live without money, you can't dress without money, you can't live in a house without money, you can't. Someone crippling you financially, especially like that, it's truly insane if this actually did happen, that you would do that to someone. Because even if something happened in the relationship and she wanted to leave, it would have been very hard, especially considering that by 23 they already had 2 children. And how are you gonna live with 2 children yet you don't have a job? How are you gonna do that? You're wholly dependent on this man, even if he's abusive. Like, that's so crazy to me. So I just wanted to point that out. And wow, that's one of the most unfortunate things that I think could ever happen to anyone. During the interview, she was also asked, like, yeah, the way you narrate this story, you seem to have seen the red flags, like the fact that he came for the wedding late, the fact that apparently he didn't even pay the bride price or the lease or whatever that lease scenario was. Like, there were red flags even before they chose to get married. And so she's asked, why did you like ignore that? Because if you saw them and then you chose to still continue with them, then you should have expected that, you know, things would blow out of proportions. And the answer she gives, again, this interview was truly, I think Suzanne Emma really has power with words, because the way she said it was, she didn't see the red flags as red flags, she didn't see the signs as signs. And that's a thing I feel like a lot of people, and a lot of women in particular, usually just, like, they're so blind to it. Like, yeah, you'll see someone acting in a particular way and you'll know it's wrong, but you won't view it as being a red flag or like a sign that, yo, this is a non-negotiable. So things like that, like coming late for a wedding that you as the woman had to initiate, because at this point you're 2 children into the marriage and he's not even looking like he wants to take this in here. Like, it's crazy. Like, yeah. And she said actually that she regretted it, and I truly admired the honesty, because it's it's just a fact. Like, there are things, I feel like if you ignore red flags like that from the beginning, and this is something that's usually actually said a lot, those red flags you ignore will end up being the reason you leave. Obviously, at the time while you're dating, they just look like red flags, but as time goes by, it goes to show you that this thing shows you this about this person, and this about this person, once you're in a union together or once you stay longer with this person, keeps on graduating. And as situations come, they keep on growing and expanding, and that's why someone just ends up being abusive to you one day. And you know, it looks crazy, but truly, if you're being honest about it, the red flags were there and you saw it. So yeah, that's just another thing that I thought was remarkable from the interview, like her honesty. And then now into the physical abuse, which I feel like, you know, it looks like this is another thing, it looks like it's the worst kind of abuse. But she even says in the interview that she attempted suicide 3 times because of the verbal abuse. Like, the things that he would say to her made her want to kill herself. Like, there was even a time there would be pastors like banging down her door begging her not to kill herself because she was so done. And I think the thing that goes to show you is how crazy it is, how just words could have such an impact on someone. Because the fact that she's even comparing abuses and saying verbal abuse made me want to not live anymore, like I would prefer when he beat me. You know how crazy that sentence is? Like, you'd prefer, it's I don't even know if there's what I'd want to add to that, but it's just insane to me. And the thing about that is, it just goes to show you how important it is to have people or men who are kind to you and who speak kind words to you, because if they don't, it will be it messes with your mind. That's actually the thing. The verbal abuse messes with your mental health. And if you're walking around like, people just need to take their mental health seriously, because if your mental health, if you're depressed, if you're feeling like a loser all the time in your relationship, and your partner just makes you feel worse of that, obviously you're not gonna be okay walking around. Like, it's not normal. So yeah, the fact that it even led her to almost killing herself 3 times, that's insane to me. And wow. So anyway, back to the physical abuse. One of the things that I found truly disturbing was how every time, she'd tell like family members and etc, she'd just be told, it's a man's world, things like that. And it just goes to show how normalized abuse is, like, within the African context. It happens in so many different homes, like so many different places, and the fact that it happens is not what's even concerning to me. It's the fact that it's normalized. Like, you'll let people know, and they just be like, yeah, it's okay. And I was actually shocked to see that there were replies and comments to these accusations on Twitter, where people were like, like, basically insinuating that either Emeka was triggered, then she did something to justify him beating him. Like, I didn't think in 2023 we'd have people thinking like that. I truly was shocked. So yeah, that's just one of the sad things in how normalized this abuse is within the African context. It's truly unfortunate, if you ask me. And then she notes, like, she refers to one incident where Emeka beat her up until she was almost paralyzed, and she was even shouting, I will die, and he still continued. And that's not even the crazy part. And all of this was happening in front of the kids. And the PA Debola, who was actually interviewed by some guy, Daddy Fizzy, Papa Fizzy, Dizzy, whatever his name is, on his YouTube channel. But even as other people noted in that comment section, obviously this Debola is not being truthful, because if at the time of the abuse he was still there, like, he still chose to stay there, he even came back, looked at her on the floor if she was still breathing, and then ran out when he heard his name, obviously this man is not being truthful. Like, if he didn't do anything then, what makes us think that he'll do anything now? So he wouldn't even serve as a credible witness. And also, considering that he's Emeka's PA, clearly he's not, like, we don't expect him to come out and say, oh yeah, Emeka was really bad, Emeka was, like, if you worked for Emeka, obviously you're going to come to his defense, because you understand you can't bite the hand that feeds you. And if you weren't being truthful then, and if you didn't do anything then to stop the abuse or to try and mitigate it, you wouldn't do it now. We don't believe that you've changed 10 years later. So I truly I just wholeheartedly discard everything that he said there. And yeah, I just find that truly concerning. Oh yeah, where I was going with that is the incident itself. I found that so problematic, because when someone does, I think the ultimate sign of a sociopath to me is someone, not even people who commit crimes, like you're just evil, but a sociopath is people who have no regard whatsoever for children's feelings. That for me is the epitome of evil. Like, I just can't understand how you would be such a person. How you would be such a person. So for him to be doing this in front of the children, she's there wailing that I will die, and you're still continuing. That's crazy. Until she was almost paralyzed. I think the best thing Suzanne Emma can do right now is just release those pictures, release the hospital reports, everything, because at this point, if whatever you're saying is true, then we're dealing with a real sociopath. It's crazy. It's crazy, if you ask me. And yeah, and she also said that, there are living witnesses and pictures that were in fact presented during the divorce, which vindicates her. Which is why I think a lot of people are more quick to believe her, because people are just like, oh, it's a woman's world. Some people are just like, oh, it's a woman's world, that's why everyone is believing her. Please don't be dumb. Listen to both sides of the story, and from your own point of view, from your own perspective, pick whatever it is you're picking from each person's side of the story. Do your own analysis and rationalize. This person is saying they have living witnesses, they have evidence that was presented to a court and it was believed. And you have this other person who's just claiming, and this other person even has, lawyers, neighbors in that estate where they used to live and the abuse used to occur. They've come out on Twitter and actually vindicated her and actually said, we used to see her on the street coming out crying, who's like, there are people who vindicated her, and her story actually doesn't have any loopholes. I'm sorry to say, but just from a critical point of view, if you watch both interviews, you're going to see so many loopholes in Emeka's interview, and it's just crazy and the fact that he's been doing this for 10 years, these interviews for 10 years, just trying to destroy her name, just trying to tarnish her, is what makes this even more crazy. So yeah, I think it's ridiculous that people can even choose not to believe her. It's just crazy. And it's not me, it's you making me do it. Imagine that's what she said to her, like, one time when he was being abusive, physically abusive to her. Do you know how psychopathic you have to be to say that to someone? Yani unakuja una abuse mtu alafu unamwambia it's your fault. That's crazy. Like, wow. And then another incident that, regarding the physical abuse that she pointed out as well, was when Emeka almost poured hot cooking oil on her, and she had to howl, and it scared him, so he dropped it. But then he still kept on saying things like, I will kill you, and nobody will find out. Imagine. I truly found crazy was online when people were like, this Emeka made this woman. Emeka is the one who, he educated her. Even if that was true, do you think it justifies violence or abuse against her? Because if you do, you're truly crazy. It's just insane.
Everyone should just kill themselves. Who says they can kill themselves to their children? He said he has other kids my age around the world. And I was like, guy, okay, is that supposed to faze me? Okay, you're doing music, you will never prosper. I'll see you on the side of the road and I'll spit on you. Don Jazzy will never see you, blah, blah, blah.
What your father said to you?
I was so surprised, man. I was like, this can't be someone I should be proud of. I started thinking, like, what do I do when I bring a woman home, or kids? Who is going to, this guy will bless my kids for me? Like, I don't understand. I'm starting making me get scared that am I going to have issues like this when I grow up?
And take note that this son was raised by Emeka, so if anything, he should be turning against her, not in support of her. So if you see her supporting her, that is very telling in itself. And then the other thing, like, even the son was like, not only is he abusive to my mom, he's also abusive to me and, like, us as kids.
Okay, go and jump in front of a truck right now. Now, go and drop in front of, jump from where you are and break your head and smash it. You're my stress. You're my problem. You're the one I sent to school. I spent all my money that I didn't have. I was just getting money to save you. You jump and took my children out and gave them to blackmailers. And they are blackmailing me using you. And you're telling me, it's better I die. Just go and do that now. Don't do it tomorrow. I want to hear it. Idiot. Think I'll let you blackmail me? And I will still get your mother. Oh. I will still get your mother. Oh. Is it Ken? Ken. Don't worry. The people behind this will hear from me. Don't wait for me to kill you. My hand not supposed to touch you. Go and kill you.
It just truly goes to show you that one of the biggest blessings and privileges that you can have is not just having parents, it's having supportive parents. Because imagine your dad being a Nollywood legend, yet you're struggling as a musician to even get your name out there, because by the time the interview went viral, he barely had 1,000 Instagram followers, yet his father is one of the most known people in all of Africa and the continent. Like, it's crazy. So it just truly goes to show you. And he even, like, he constantly made statements that would tell his son that he would not make it in the music business. Don Jazzy wouldn't play his music. He would see him on the road and spit on him. He used to tell the son that he'd kill himself and he'd kill, like, to go kill themselves. Like, what? Who tells their child that? A lot of people, not a lot of people, some people came online and were trying to fault the son for speaking up about the abuse, and it was just like, truly, if you can't be blaming the son for coming out, yet Emeka is the one who started it, so you are defending the abuse. You don't have a problem when the abuser speaks out, but when the victims speak out, suddenly you have a problem. Be serious. And actually, it's crazy that these people had more of a problem with Emeka's son speaking out and weren't even listening to what he was saying. They were more concerned with him speaking out. And mind you, he's like 20. So, and even one of the interesting comparisons that I saw online were these same people who have a problem with Emeka's son, who's 20, speaking out against his father's abuse, don't have a problem with the fact that Emeka married the ex-wife when she was only 19. So Emeka can marry a 19-year-old son, but a 19-year-old woman, but a 20-year-old son can't speak up. Make it make sense. It truly doesn't make sense. And then even in the interview, something that he says that I find truly remarkable and truly profound is, this can't be someone I'm proud of when talking about Emeka. Like, when you from the outside looking in, it looks like, oh yeah, all these career achievements, etc. But when you're the one from the inside looking at him, it's like, from the inside looking at Emeka, it's like, what? This is not the caliber of man I should be proud of. So I get like where he was coming from with that. And actually, one of the things that he said was, am I going to have issues like this when I grow up? And someone quote tweeted this and said, if you've not had a narcissistic or abusive parent, you can never understand that kind of self-reflection. You become afraid of what you're made of. I don't wish it on any child. And I think that's one of the things that I find truly remarkable about Emeka Ike's son. His name is Michael Ike, and his level of self-awareness and the fact that he's like, what? This is not what a man should be like. This is not how a man should treat women. This is not normal. So someone said, when you're old enough, you'll understand your father's point of view. When you get married, you'll understand why your father was abusive to your mother. That's what people were telling him on Twitter. And obviously, when I say people, it's not a lot of people. I'm just referring to those few dead bums, those people who are sick in the head. But I'm shocked that they're even there in 2023. But basically, yeah. And I think it's truly a shame that you can speak like that. I don't even know what to tell you. It's really a shame. It just goes to show, I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. It just goes to show that you are either an abuser or an enabler. That's all. Anyway, guys, so that's the end of this video. I just wanted to give and share my thoughts on this whole saga, and I hope the truth is brought to light, and I hope Emeka Ike's wife and son do more interviews, just coming out with the truth, so that more people, the truth and more evidence, so that people can truly get a clearer picture of what it is that is going on, or that went on, or that is going on with this man, because this is crazy.